With the recession finally behind us, credit a little more available, family buyers are back in the motorhome sector, and Adria have addressed that with this Coral XL, the first overcab Coral for quite a few years. In fact, Adria, apart from their budget Sun Living brand, have really deserted overcabs recently, like so many other manufacturers. But that big overcab bulge, quite neatly styled here and well integrated into the shape of the motorhome. That overcab really does work well for family motorhoming. It's always available and it doesn't impinge in your lounge space. Now, this particular vehicle's on a 3.5 tonne chassis. This one is 54 grand, 58 grand as you see it here, with things like the alloy wheels, the driver's pack and the roof rack and ladder. It's 7.3 metres, but perhaps the biggest statistic of all is it's a 7 berth with 7 travel seats. Now, I'm not sure about 7 people in there, but certainly a family of 4, as I've used it with my 2 kids and my wife, works really well in this vehicle. Let's take a look and see what that layout offers for a family going on a motorhoming holiday. Now, there's nothing particularly new about this Adria's layout. What's new is that it's unusual to see a layout like this in a motorhome of this quality. Now, as soon as you come through the door, you notice that the door's locked on the remote central locking that does the cab doors as well. And it's a posh door with a fly screen, with nice mouldings, with a waste bin, a window. This Adria takes things up a level for family buyers that want all the space, the berths, the beds, the seat belts, but they don't want a product that feels cheap. And certainly this doesn't feel cheap. There's the duotone furniture, the nice sort of half faux leather fabrics, and just the quality of the vehicle, plenty of ambient lighting, all the fittings. It feels very much a high-end product. It feels like an expensive motorhome. Now, back to the layout, you get a 4-seater adult Pullman dinette on this side and a little 2-seater dinette over on this side. Now, you'll see that the seats are much smaller on that side. There's a lot less space, but I had my 2 kids, aged 2 and 8, sitting there, and they thought it was absolutely fantastic to have their own seating space. On this side, my wife and I had plenty of room, and if we had anybody pop in for a coffee, then there was room for extra people too. The cab doesn't play any role on site because the cab seats don't swivel, although you could perhaps add a swivel to the driver's seat if you really wanted to. But the advantage of not having swivels on the driver's seat, or indeed on the passenger seat, is they do go down lower and you do get a much more comfortable driving position as a result. You don't feel as if you're perched up in the air. Above the cab is that crucial overcab bed. Good size double. Headroom does reduce a bit towards the nose, but it's okay. And it feels light up there because of the big overcab sunroof, which is a great feature if you're taking this sort of vehicle down to the Med and it's hot in summer weather. You've got opening windows up there as well. So let's see how this Adria copes with feeding a family. Well, the kitchen unit is to the rear of the door here, and on the end you've got this miniaturised version of what Adria normally calls its media wall. Little recess, and there's a USB socket in there. I found it quite useful for keeping the dog lead, but other people might have more high-tech solutions for it. Illuminated splashback to the kitchen, that looks rather nice, and then 3 burners in a line. This combined sink and hob unit is very smart and practical, and it's unique to Adria. Now, the bonus of it is having the burners set back like that frees up a reasonable amount of worktop, so quite a practical kitchen. You also got a combined oven and grill and plenty of drawer space. Good sized drawers, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, so plenty of room for all your stuff, and you're not going to be on your knees fumbling around at the back of a cupboard trying to find it all. And on the other side, you've got a big wardrobe and an excellent toilet and shower. Separate shower, and that's fed by a 140 litre inboard fresh water tank. So you shouldn't have too many worries about running out of water too quickly. It's a good practical family space, that. And finally, what makes this Coral XL into a family motorhome is the bunk bed arrangement at the back. These beds are full adult size, so if you've got teenagers, no problem. If they're little, then the top bunk has a safety net to stop little ones falling out. The ladder is nice and securely clipped in there, and it's got a decent angle on it, so no problem for smaller people climbing in and out. And you've even got a little step for the bottom bunk, so if you've got very little ones, then they should be able to manage. Also, plenty of storage under that bottom bunk, accessible through garage doors on both sides and through this internal door. Now, if you only need one of these bunk beds, you can actually fold up the bottom one and create a much bigger garage area. And we'll take a look at that now. Now, we found plenty of room for outdoor chairs, buckets and spades, footballs, all the sort of kiddie paraphernalia that family motorhoming entails in this locker here. Now, you can see that the floor level drops here. Adria have thought of practicalities like lighting, drain hole in the floor, tie down hooks, so it's all very well thought out. But fold this cushion up, fold the base up, and you can turn it into a much bigger garage area for bicycles. So, family size motorhome, family size storage, which is what you need. Now, this particular example, as I said at the outset, is based on a 3.5 tonne chassis. Adria says that that gives you a payload of about 500 kilos. Could be enough, might not be. If you need a bit more, a 3650 chassis upgrade is a no-cost option. So 150 kilos of extra payload, but that does have driving licence implications because it takes you over the 3.5 tonne limit. If you need more than that, as you might do if you've got big family, older kids, more stuff, bikes on the back, etc, etc, then you can go to a 4.3 tonne chassis. Now, that comes with a big engine upgrade, heavier duty chassis, so it's an expensive option, 5 grand more, but it could take this motorhome into exactly what you need with lots and lots of payload. So, options to consider, but whichever version you go for, this is a very fine motorhome. I can't think of a better way of spending 55 to 60 grand on a motorhome that really is all about the family. Now, mine aren't with me today, but I'm going for a spin anyway.